Okay, recording. Quick photo before we start.
Let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, with the second podcast with those guys. This is me, Ali, an English language teacher, and of course, three English language teachers, teacher Furkan, Alper, and Amir. Today we're going to talk about mainly English language and the learning process and everything within the language. Is that what we're going to do, or there's going to be more things to be added?
More things to add. It should be actually.
We should. Let's keep something important in mind. Each one of us had around around 4 years of teaching experience.
Yeah. Exactly. We can
and maybe more. We're going to look at English language from different perspectives, different backgrounds. So I think our goal is that when people watch this podcast, they will take lots of ideas and benefits from it. Not only from a teacher perspective, but also a learner perspective. Because I don't think we are only teachers, we learned the language, we used it, and then we put it in our classes, and then people are learning from us. But sometimes it's very important that we look at it from a different perspective, because students will be like, I want to be like you. Well, is that how I learn the language?
Yeah.
So will my way work with that students, and how the students are different? So we want to provide the whole aspect of an English language learning process, or whatever goes into that, so that people will be like, okay, I can tap on that idea. I think this is my problem. I think this is the solution. When people watch, or students watch from different age ranges, different nationalities, will be like, this is my problem. I hope they're going to discuss the solution, and hopefully we will cover everything. We're going to start with the first thing, because at least what I do in my classroom is that I ask students, why are you here? What is the purpose behind you coming in the school or learning English generally? Yeah. So I wonder about the purpose. So what do you have to say about the power of purpose?
The answer of the question would be definitely, especially for a common thing, for the career.
Right.
Some of the students, some of my students as well, say that, teacher, I want to learn this language, English language, for my career, for my job, for the money. Yes. But as for me, if you ask me, of course, the first thing is career, the money, the job, blah, blah, blah. But the second thing is, and actually one of the most important purpose is, I learn this language to express myself to the people. Then you have another language. You also have another character in your slides, you see. So you can also express yourself with the two terms. You can express yourself as a Turkish guy with the Turkish people. You can express yourself in an English language with the English people, or another foreign people as well. So expressing myself is one of the most important purpose to learning this language.
Also, when it comes to flirting with people as well. Because what he said about having a different personality when you are speaking a different language that is other than your mother tongue. When it comes to having a different kind of personality when you start speaking in a different language, I also agree with this as well, because from my own experience, whenever I start speaking in English, I find myself more comfortable flirting with girls.
Oh.
Yeah.
Which is something that I don't know why, but having trouble when I'm doing it in Turkish. I don't know, I'm more tense. Because my personality has been built on Turkish in a more conservative way, kind of, because of my cultural and family background as well.
Right.
But English is something that I learned by myself. And English is a language that I learned by looking at different kind of resources from very different cultural backgrounds as well. Like especially dramas, TV series and movies, like the most common was How I Met Your Mother, Friends, and you see all those different dynamics between friend relationships, like also emotional relationships as well.
By the way, you forget the office. Anyway.
Alright, yeah, as well, yes, right.
I believe that it's up to how did you learn the language. So for example, if you are learning the language, let's say for example, the first time I was exposed to English from his point of view, or from anyone's point of view, not teacher Alper in a specific.
Right.
The first time he got exposed to English, it was by what? By watching movies and by watching some kind of, let's say, drama. So the guy becomes, every time he thinks about English, a drama. And it builds up this English character as dramatic character.
Exactly.
Why? Because the first time he got exposed to it was drama.
That's so natural, yeah?
Yeah, because I mean, the first time, it's like a small baby, he was born and he's looking at his parents and they are talking in a language, and this language is following up with this kind of scenario.
Yeah.
And I think if it's English, and let's say it's motivational video, or let's say it's a life improvement or something like that, then the guy will be the English character of him, it will be talking
Absolutely.
about.
It's like
this
impersonating that character.
Exactly, living the moment. So I think, well, because it's very interesting that he said that I feel more comfortable doing that. I was thinking, why? And
Because
it's
he got exposed to all these things.
Yes, at the beginning of it, maybe, I'm not sure again, he maybe got exposed to these things, that's why the character of him.
The start of learning the language
Very
was
important.
there. That's
Yes.
very interesting because
Yeah.
I don't think he's now kind of impersonating anybody when he speaks. He kind of created his own character now,
Of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is really amazing because how you start to learn it is just like for a period of time, 6 months, maybe 7 months, you'll be like, I am like acting like that character, or I'm speaking with that girl, with that, like that person, and then suddenly I'm changed person. This
Yep.
I'm building on my. So it's kind of correct. You have a different character, and it also takes a period of time to build it.
Absolutely.
Also, the transition between your main language and that personality you associate with your main tongue, and your English personality, that transition is not very swift in the beginning. That's why you're actually trying to prove your points, and you are making up different like hand gestures you wouldn't normally have.
Yeah.
Now you are mimicking other people, the personalities that you saw on TV programs and shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But like Tishali also said, after some time you definitely establish your own other personality.
Yep.
And you just go back and forth between those different personalities quite easily.
I think language is like more like a culture. For example, when you're learning Japanese, in Japanese, for example, you cannot be that much of, let's say, naive kind of personality, or maybe you are more like all the time you are friendly, or you're disciplined, or this kind of
Or
thing.
reserved also. a little,
Exactly.
right?
So, for example, let's say, for example, when I was learning Turkish language or any other languages as well, you carry the culture with it. So, for example, you say, in my own language, I speak like that, but in this language, you cannot speak like that.
That's very important
Yes.
thing.
So, in English, for example,
Tapping on teacher Alper's as well. He said, I am better at flirting or speaking with a
100%.
girl in a better way
because maybe
the culture
allows it more.
he
and-
embraces it. It's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
Definitely.
this is
But
interesting.
at the end of the tunnel, you just, again, you mix up with the character, you don't delete your original character,
Yeah.
no. Whenever you learn something new from anyone, sometimes you don't like the guy, but he's saying something beneficial, right? So you take the things that you learn, you add it to yourself, and you keep your
You
own
have
thing.
to be intellectual to do that. I mean, you have to be smart
Of course.
because like the content and the materials are too
Different.
much there, and then you're going to, let's say, cherry pick the ones that are positive for you.
Yes,
And
yes,
I wonder if we can take the negative ones too, because when we watch everything on TV,
yes.
there is evil and there is good and there
Yes.
isn't bad.
Sometimes.
So when you say you take the good things,
Yes, you have to know what you want before. I think the purpose to learn a language is to
starting loving the culture
Yeah.
could be.
Exactly.
Building
For
on it.
example, like again, while I'm learning Japanese right now, like I'm wondering about the culture, like what kind of culture they have. From 800 years ago, the samurai culture, for example, the discipline. Right now, they live like robots. Sometimes you don't know if they have feelings or they are just living normally. Exactly. For example,
Yeah.
that's an honor for them. Like, can you imagine someone when you kill yourself? It's an
Absolutely.
honor because you're killing yourself with your own sword, not with your enemy's sword.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were learning Japanese. Did you guys
Me
know?
too as
I
well,
have
by
no
the
idea.
way.
I knew that.
You know, I
But
What about
we were
Tsubasa?
interested in the culture, but
Tsubasa,
not
it's,
exactly.
Japanese or
Yeah,
Korean?
Tsubasa, it's not. I think it's Japanese. That's an
Japanese
animation
Tsubasa?
for football, I
I
think.
have no
Yeah,
clue.
Yeah, football, I think.
Yeah.
Tsubasa. I think some people they learn for fun, hobby, or
Yeah, for aesthetic purposes.
exactly
Yeah,
for
for
personal
example.
things. Some people they learn to show off. I am cool. I know 2 languages. You
yeah.
know, to use it to promote themselves in a different way. Some people it's a different. Like each person has different purpose. But the most important thing, whatever you are doing, I think you have to know your why.
Mm.
So example, I always ask this to my students, when they are learning English, why you are learning English? I don't care if it's for the career, for anything. We have a saying, in life coaching, we have a saying that if your why is strong, your how is easy. So if I know why I am learning English, the how is gonna become easy.
It's like you have a motivation for a long term.
Exactly.
Like I really want to learn the language because of this reason, and because of that I'm just gonna do whatever the how, whatever necessary to get there.
Exactly. When we meet students 30 years old, they are fathers and they have sons and they wake up every day, they go to job and come back at 7 p.m. they attend to the course. then their why is strong. That's why the how is easy, and they come with a smiley face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Our students, like, it's so beautiful. And whatever it is, by the way, you can find not in only language, in anything in life.
Right.
If the why is strong, the how is easy.
You also admire the life, right? I have a student, his age is 54.
Look.
Imagine yourself learning
Yeah.
English language or another language.
54.
I'm 54, man.
54.
And, oh my god, he does everything. He has his own company, he has his own life, and he works 8 hours in a day,
Yeah.
and still he wants to keep some hours and spend time with the English.
Improve himself. Like sometimes we see people that they're 70 years old, 80 years old, and they're doing so many things in life.
Yeah.
For example, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and the other Steve Jobs, he passed away. The other guys, I mean 70, 70 and 80, and they're doing so many things in life, right?
You're still working on iPhone 18.
Yeah, I think, or I'm not fine, we don't know. Anyways, but sometimes you meet some guys who are 25 or like 26, and the guy is in full depression, and he says, I can't do anything in life, and I have no goals.
Yeah.
So this guy looks like 8 years old, and the 8 years old looks like 25 years old.
What is stronger, having a personal goal or some external purpose, like outside purpose? Which one is stronger for you to?
Which one is stronger?
Like, because we're talking about the why,
Yeah.
and if it was a personal goal, like I want to be better at a language, I want to be sexier, or I want to live in a different country or something like that. Or your job forces you to learn English, or you must take like
your personal why. I think both of them are a little bit like the same thing. Why? Because if your job is forcing you, then if your why to the job is strong, it will be strong for English as well.
right.
Because if I'm working every day to have money and to, I want to get this promotion, I want to change my job and go to a better job, better position as well.
That's personal goal.
That's personal goal, so you're gonna push yourself, I think, for
But
English.
to oppose you, so to
Yeah.
say, when you're not motivated for something innerly, like an outer motivation is forcing you to do something, that's pseudo motivation. And as long as the factor that is pushing you to follow that track is like out of the picture, then you stop doing it. And whatever you have done until that point on goes to waste completely.
For
Now you
example,
stop speaking English, now you stop learning English. Imagine you were working for a company, the
Yeah.
company made it mandatory for each worker to get to B1 level English. And then something happened and you switched to a different company, right? But that company doesn't require you to do something.
The pressure has gone.
Yes, the pressure is gone.
Yeah.
And you weren't innerly motivated in the beginning as well. You didn't wonder what speaking English would be beneficial to you. That it will open up a different world for you. That it will enlarge your vision, your outlook on life as well. You just wanted it so you could make your place in the company
Yeah.
safer in the long run.
Makes sense.
But now you don't have to do it. Now it's just worthless for you.
Yeah.
So you just stop doing
So
that.
external pleasure is bad.
In addition, for Alper, if you search for the motivation from outside, for example, you want to and you decide to learn Dutch, for example, and you take that from your perspective. If I speak Dutch, people ask me, "Oh my God, do you know Dutch? Oh, please tell me something." Blah blah blah. But if you cannot see this kind of reactions, and if you do this on purpose, intention to learning another language for motivation from outside, you feel that why no one asked me something? Why did I learn this language? Because of the motivation. No. If you want to learn some language, another language from your insights, your personal purposes, you will do more and more. Because you don't find the motivation from the like Ali, Ahmed, Mehmet. No, you just wanted to learn. You want to show some characteristic feature of the languages. I know this. Did you know that? How do you learn? Blah blah. So, except for researching and looking for motivation from outside, just keep yourself to yourself. Just want from your inside.
Teacher Alper talked about that the culture inspired him,
Yeah.
kinda,
Yes.
and he used the language into a sophistication of having a relationship and so on and so forth. And we have Teacher Furkan spoke about the importance of a career. So career is important to attain the language.
Yes.
What about you? You haven't mentioned.
Actually, I don't recall the main reason why I started learning English, but at my home, my mom is an English teacher, as you know, guys, and back in Abu Dhabi, you have to speak English, because when you go to the market, English speakers, foreigners everywhere, they don't speak your mother language, so you have to learn another language. So I don't recall exactly when was the age that I started learning English, because I think since kindergarten we used to have some kind of, you know, English alphabets, and we start to learn like both of the languages.
A, B, C, D.
Yes.
Do they try to stay away from their mother tongue, or they feel they have to speak English? Why they don't want to use their language?
No, of course, like, for example, let's say a Filipino guy, he came in and he's working in the market.
In Abu Dhabi, okay.
Yes, and he's working. He doesn't need to learn Arabic in order for him to work.
I see, that's why.
Yes, but of course, like, it's different. But if he works in an Arabic company and it's required for him to speak the mother language of the country itself. Any country, by the way, even if you go to Japan, for example, some people, they don't speak Japanese, they speak only English. In Turkey, the same thing, for example.
Yeah.
Like, it's about the environment, if it's required from you to learn the language or not. That's why I just learned it automatically. But when I started, you know, loving, let's say, the language, because all of us, we speak languages, but when you have a certain point of your life, it's that you say to yourself, I love this language more than that language, right?
Yeah.
That, I think it was, when I was in grade 7, I believe, 12 years old, 11 years old, it started. Why? I don't know exactly, I don't recall the reason, but I just started telling myself that I want to be speaking English in a fluent way, and I want to be, like, you know, speaking more and more and learning more.
I thought when you met me, you wanted to.
When I met you also, of course, yeah, 100% teacher. When we all met you,
What about you? What's your purpose?
We took a 5 minutes break and we were talking about it in the balcony.
Yeah.
I think uniqueness, I wanted to stand out among my peers.
Mhm.
So I wanted to be like, this is the guy who's good at English language.
Yeah.
This is the guy you should go to do whatever.
Want to be pointed, huh?
you wanted to be, you have your own skill, your own advantage over the other people
because
around you.
like you meet a lot of people and lots of people say, you know, I know English language. It just like, how well do you really know English language?
Mm.
Like 30%, 50%, 70% just for communication, just technical.
Like
Show us,
this,
huh?
like
So
this.
I wanted,
show us.
yes. So I wanted to have it all, and that's I think why the same age as you, 12. He said
12 years old, yeah.
12. I started to read dictionary. I started to
Love the language, right?
not love,
Going inside of it.
obsessed, and
Obsessed.
I say it as a negative manner because
Yeah.
like I literally was letting go of all other subject that I have in school and focused mainly on English language,
Yeah.
and got me into lots of trouble with my mom, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
This is called
I think-
disease.
It was
this is called
until
disease.
now. Sometimes I'm thinking about it.
You mentioned a very good point that when you said that I know English, for example, I know Japanese, or I know Turkish, for example, but how really do you know? Because there are a lot of people who they add on their CVs. If you see this,
From 1 to
funny
10,
joke,
what
yes.
scale you really know the
yes,
language?
exactly. I know this, I know that, but when you really speak with them, they don't really know that much, and which is a sad
But the
reality.
common point is, if you can speak, you know the language. Speaking doesn't do not convince the people
100%.
learning the language.
If you can, again, we're talking about like not academic point of view. You're not studying
Yeah,
IELTS or
our
TOEFL. You're
things.
not being a teacher at the end of the day. If you are just
Communicator, just for the sake
communicator,
of
exactly.
speaking.
You're going to Canada. You're going to America. You're meeting a foreign person. You want to communicate. What is the goal of the language? The goal of the language is what? I understand what you're saying, and I can deliver my opinion to you.
We call this in methodology intelligibility.
Intelligibility. If you want to become a teacher, another story. If you want to become more like academic professor, and
I would argue, like, even when you become a teacher, like, I have met lots of teachers through the interviews that I have, and I met you guys, and I really find sometimes that I'm just an English teacher. So what I do is just I follow the course book so that I can achieve the syllabus and I can go on with my life. And there is another different English teacher where like, I'm gonna improve, I'm gonna provide more,
Yes.
I'm gonna give more. I don't think that is only for the sake of the students, but I think self-development.
Yes.
Like, I want to improve myself as well because I want to perform. I want to improve that.
And plus, at the end of the day, whatever you're doing in life, you're representing yourself. Alper and I were sharing a class, and the guy, he was preparing some kind of worksheets for the grammar rule. And you know, there is a book. The book is enough. We have practice. We have workbook as well. And the students can improve themselves with their own. We give our own resources.
Yeah.
But again, he was doing it extra. Why? Because you are representing yourself. Whatever job you are doing, whether it's teaching, engineering, being a doctor, whatever it is, there is always this 20%. What makes Ali different from Furkan is that, or any individual, what makes them special is this 20% that they give from their own selves. That what makes me will remember Furkan forever or Ali forever is that, yeah, that guy was putting so much difference in his job or in his career.
As we all are English teachers, we especially study more than our students. So
100%.
Yeah.
definitely, we
100%.
add much more than we
100%,
have
yeah.
in here.
I agree.
So the more you teach, the more you learn.
So if you have the purpose,
Yeah.
eventually you will be carrying it out till your maturity or till your adulthood when you become whatever career you're pursuing, and that would be the way you carry yourself. That's the way you are now. You are an English teacher, you need to improve yourself more. That's how you learn. That's the purpose where English started with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder about the mindset of a learner. So the language comes first or the mindset comes first? Which one comes first?
Mindset comes first. You know what? There's a term in methodology and we say learned helplessness. If a student say all the time, I know myself, I cannot do at the end of the month, I cannot do at the end of the week, I cannot do this English topic, the grammar, blah blah, whatever it is, at the end of the year, so you are definitely 100% learned helplessness. The reason why I say mindset comes first, you have to achieve your limitation. You have to go beyond your limitation.
Right.
Don't limit yourself.
A guy who's working and he has a wife and he has a kid and he has a lot of things in his life.
So
How can he, because when you say free yourself, it's like throwing all the other important things in his life and focusing on one thing.
it
He
should
cannot do
make
that.
process, teacher.
How can you balance it?
For example, you want to take the IELTS and you want to take the highest score, for example. Let's say
Yes.
you want to take at least 7 points.
Yeah.
It's a perfect one, right?
Yeah.
You have to study a lot. And you said that, as you said, I have a wife, I have children, I have something to do, and much more to do. You have to make a space between them. You have to, I'm not saying should, you
Priorities.
have to, of course. Priorities are important than how you feel. So the thing is, feeling comfortable or feeling success,
So discipline over motivation, you're saying?
period.
I totally agree with teacher Alper and also Furkan as well that they are saying discipline is more important than your feelings, you said, right? I believe.
Yeah, feeling comfortable.
Yes.
Not.
I think seriously, like discipline is like a beautiful thing. I think discipline is the strongest form of self-love. Why is that? Because you are ignoring something you want right now for something later on it will be better for you. I think it's very important as teachers to teach our students what is the meaning of discipline, because we always say discipline is important, discipline is important, discipline is important, but what is discipline?
I hate that, by the way.
Doing something that you don't want to do, but you do it anyways.
I hate that we don't have time in our classrooms to discuss this more in depth. And I think look, one of the, if we talked about the purposes before, is how you have the motive, the itch of I want to learn English and I want to be better at it, so that actually when you go in the classroom, the students need to see your discipline.
Exactly.
Like you have to show an example, you have to lead.
Exactly.
Because speaking never works. Like if I were to say, okay, prioritize your life, put English first, growth of mindset is important.
Nonsense.
Teacher, those are words, like how can I literally do that? I had a problem the other day in the classroom. I sent a link so that they can access the digital form of a book.
Yeah.
They never clicked on the link. I was in the classroom, it's a C1 class that I'm sharing with Alper.
Yes.
Yeah.
I entered, I clicked on it, I put the code and I opened it and the whole class, like I have told them everything, they haven't done it. They wanted me to show them, they wanted me to do the action in front of them.
Yeah.
So we're talking about growth of mindsets, they need to prioritize things, they need to have discipline, dedicate themselves for the English language, prioritize their life, yet it's kind of also difficult for us to show that in a classroom. Unless you tell them how you learn English language, how it changed your life, how it would change their life, how you put English first.
But if we look at the student's perspective,
Right.
imagine yourself that you are 15 years old and your mother, your parents wants you to learn the languages. You don't have anything to do. Okay, mom, okay, father, I want to learn this language. Okay. You come here and you have, in this time, 2005 in here, you have lots of distractions.
Distractions,
All
100%, yeah.
Social media, drinking coffee with together, we're hanging out outside.
Yeah.
There are so many popular things.
Discipline is
I also actually understand the students as well. Why they don't have time to study?
We were there once.
Definitely.
We were once there and there.
Think yourself 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself, imagine you're 10 years ago. TikTok was famous? No way. There was not even TikTok.
Instagram came out 2010, for example.
Facebook 9.
Yeah.
There's so many distractions that distract the students, that's why. And we should also understand the perspective of the students as well. But we have to be role play with them. We have to role play to them.
How can we make English language attracted to
Yes.
them? Like how they would be like, wow, English language is so cool. I wanna attain the language. That's also hard for us from our parts.
Teacher Ali mentioned that in order to make learning English language more fun for your students, you have to discover new ways, right? But we are now sitting here, 4 different people from 4 different backgrounds. And our common point is that we love English language and we teach English language as a profession. We make our living out of that. So, and all of us also had different reasons, different motivations, right? When we started learning this language for the first time. Now, in each classroom you have 15, 20, 25, 30, depends on how many room you have. Different individuals. So all of them has different motivations. All of them has different personalities. All of them has different ambitions and goals they want to accomplish. And also different lifestyles and backgrounds. So finding individual traits is very much difficult. In order to do that, you have to invest in the relationship you have with the student. You have to create a rapport,
100%.
Like a mutual trust. So that student can open up to you and mention his hobbies.
And especially teenagers, it's difficult for them to open up.
100%.
Teenagers, I think one time me and Ali, we were talking about it, like the first time when we start our classes, most of you the same thing.
Yes.
When we start our classes, first we say, how are you? And it's not like, how are you, I'm fine, thank you, and you.
Yeah.
How are you, I'm, for example, sometimes I go in the class and I see someone, it's obvious that he's sad, or she's sad, but I don't go and ask him directly. I go all the way and then I come to him and they stop it on it, like, are you sure you're okay? And they say, teacher, today I had a bad day, I had this and that. I think it's very important because, you're coming in, you're teaching something, and if the guy feels bad, how he will open his heart to take the info in? He will never open it up for you, especially for you. But when you take care of the student and you say, what happened? And then you start, we also have problems.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of things. Like, I want to speak up about my problems as well. But
We want to be asked.
yes, but as a teacher, it's our role, it's our job to make sure that the listener is 100% with us.
For example, we have in our current mutual C1 class a student who is doing some rocketing, right? Rocket programming.
Unbelievable.
Building rocket projects
15?
with his team as well.
15 years old.
Yes, 15 years old, a high school student. And they came second in a competition, in a rocket building competition in Turkey.
In Turkey.
They came second.
I cannot imagine.
Wow.
Absolutely. Now, for example, you know that this particular student has this kind of a hobby, which is a brilliant one. Now you can perhaps provide some kind of guidance into how learning English could help him in that regard, right? In that small specific area as well.
I must say something. The students we had also in B2.
Yeah.
And I remember very clearly, he was not sharing his rocket, let's say, adventures or the project and everything else. But
He would just say he was learning programming.
yeah, but we were interested in
Yeah.
what's going on. I always tell him, photos show me. Can I see videos? Today he went to his WhatsApp status
Yeah,
and he showed me the table where he shows that they are the second in Turkey.
absolutely.
And my reaction was important for him.
Of course, 100%.
Like, imagine
Yeah.
how it would be like. 15 years old like this, you can certainly find that they are also interested to learn English language.
Yeah.
They know English language is so important
Yes.
for what they are doing, and then they will put the effort and communicate. Today, teacher Alper told him, you may speak in Turkish. He had an issue expressing himself. He said to him, no, English. And he had difficulty.
Yeah.
Tell teacher Alper helped him with the word and he proceeds.
Excellent.
It's brilliant.
I think it's very important also as well, for example, in order for us to make a good relationship with the student, himself or herself, is that, for example, we have to find the common thing. For example, some students, they're gamers, right? And that's how they learn English. For example, teenagers or even like 27, 28, up to 30 topics
You
as well.
start to talk about the relationship as well.
Yeah,
Just
for
look at a student's eyes.
What is love, for example?
They have like they want to learn.
Yeah, love?
Yeah.
You mean?
A relationship. They want to like. We had a student also with teacher Alper in B2 class in the beginning. he had a problem with his relationship, and he's a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when he opened up, and I swear to God, the whole class, I've never seen them this much put their phone down, and they were like this.
See?
They were so interested.
They were completely into his story of a relationship. I think curiosity carries teenagers. They need curiosity. And I think if we were able to make them interested, or no, wrong choice of word. If we were able to make them feel that we are interested in what they like, then it's going to be very quickly for us to embed the English language in them.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can build something more than that, because that's the first step, I would say, getting along. And then maybe we could start building consistency of practicing English in their life.
Yes.
Because like sometimes we focus on intensity. We just want to pressure the language onto them, and we know that it will not work.
Yes.
Daily habits and consistency. Like, let's say we can say that we kind of trick the students into getting into their zone, understanding what they like, what they don't like, because it helps us to provide them with resources to practice English. How can we make sure that, we know that to have a good English, you have to be consistent, regular basis. It's like going to the gym, isn't it? Every day, 2 hours, 1 hour practice here and there, because we don't want to pressure them. For example, we have classes Saturday and Sunday only.
Yeah.
They get pressured a lot. Only 2 days. How can we understand that consistency for them is important? How can we tell them about that, and how they can follow up on it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's quite challenging for me as a teacher, because I regularly watch 1 hour, 2 hours of video, and sometimes I don't have time. I push myself, and I feel so bad.
Yeah.
I feel guilty because I'm so used to watch videos, and I'm so consistent. If I don't do it one day,
you feel bad.
Guilt is tripping. Like I am feeling so bad. Gym, same thing, because I got used to it long.
About the consistency, we actually shouldn't blame the students.
Right.
Why you're not studying, why you're not working. They have lots of things in their mind. Just imagine yourself, guys. If we even were a student, like when I was 15 years old, I have so much to do. I have geography, I have math, I have biology, I have English, I have Turkish. Oh my God.
You don't have to go that far. Just think about last year when
Definitely.
you were preparing for the exam.
Yes.
And you were teaching at the same time.
Definitely. So we have to create a space, as I mentioned before, feeling comfortable or feeling the success. Which one you choose?
But for teenagers to exactly grasp that concept of thinking of the long-term effects rather than the short-term effects and getting the dopamine all the time by sticking to just social media doom scrolling and brain rotting and that kind of stuff. Also, one of our responsibilities as teachers, and just moving on with the example that you give, the weekend class, we just see them once a week you and the other day me, and then for a whole week we don't see those guys, right? We have the WhatsApp groups, but no interaction whatsoever in the group.
I fight in the classroom.
Absolutely, I know.
This group is for you.
Why you're not
right?
Why you're not right?
Do
Talk,
something.
discuss.
Say something. Say hi.
Yeah,
Hello.
whatever.
I'm bored.
Yeah.
Something.
But restricting someone, don't do that. Don't do that. They want to do that.
Yeah.
So it means that banning or limiting the social media usage, you can harness the social media. Use some, for example, for the EdTech students, I have lots of EdTech students. They can also harness the social media. And I can suggest sometimes that, guys, if you want to use social media, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram so much, use them in a good way. Type like EdTech questions.
Of course.
EdTech topics.
Utilize it.
Yes.
You are talking about, changing distractions and these things to beneficial things for yourselves.
Because they call digital natives. That's why they have to use it in their lifestyle. But restricting is not the solution.
Absolutely, I agree as well. And I just want to go back to what we discussed about like losing touch with the student, and that's not having an exact way of making sure that they are keeping that consistency. I think it's also a responsibility of a teacher that even when you don't have any classes, you sometimes just need to check up on them by sending emails perhaps. Like it's an old-fashioned way, I know, but there are now platforms, right? Virtual classroom platforms. Like you create, let's say, C1 London, that's the name of your class, right? Then you join that channel as a teacher, and the other guys, they join as students, and you can assign them things, assign them projects, get their ideas, open up different discussions, and also request feedback from them about as to what they have been doing for the week. after the class or lesson, something like that.
Mhm.
So trying to utilize a platform like that, which nowadays technology,
It should
thank
be.
God, helping us a lot in this way as
Mhm.
teachers, is I think that very important,
Yeah.
crucial to the teaching process as well, because
Follow
teaching
up.
is
Follow
not
up is
just
important.
I
not
think-
just a classroom job.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
I think consistency, again, when you talk about teaching consistency and learning a language, I think it's super easy these days. I mean, with AI, you can literally speak with an AI
Definitely.
character that will
Definitely.
correct you and will add to your language.
free.
And for free, and like, it's everywhere, and like,
Exposure they have.
Yeah.
literally, like,
Yeah.
you know, how did we learn the language? We learned it like over the years, right? Like
Yes.
5 years, 6 years we've been learning it, adding it to our own experience from the beginning of the journey. And nowadays you can literally, for example, in
2
one day,
years.
2 years,
If you play your cards right, it will take you 2 years
2
to be almost native level.
you will be
speaking-wise.
amazing.
These are all the website, the web applications are
Yeah.
all interactive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you said social media, AI, language exposure, and everything else. There is also something else that a lot of learners have problem with. There is input and output of a language,
Yeah.
and I think most of it is passive. So they
Yeah.
are getting everything from social media,
Just receptive skills.
reading, listening, and all those things. Those are the input.
Mhm.
People and learners from my side on social media, when they ask me questions, I notice that they have so much insight. They have accumulated lots of words, vocabularies, accents maybe, and everything else. It's just they do not know that it is as important as the output. So as much as you get information in your body, in your head, it's hard to speak and hard to produce.
Yes.
So the output is challenging.
Yeah.
That period for teenagers, I noticed from, let's say, I don't know, 12 to 18, sometimes till 25, I noticed people getting exposed so much. The input is there and they get so demotivated. They be like, I don't know English.
Yes.
I cannot speak, I cannot write. No, no, no. You have it. The input is there. You've been exposed for 10 years to social media and
Yeah.
videos and movies. You were exposed to vocabularies.
The unconscious mind is
Yes,
not really
this is
bringing
as
it up.
important as the output. Of course,
Yeah.
the output is the optimal version. Like, I can speak the language, I can get it out of my body. But that input, I think it's very important. And many students get demotivated. Like, I do not know English, or I study so much, I just can't get the language out of me. They don't know that the 10 years, 5 years of input can produce a very good output.
Yeah.
You just need to create an environment, create I don't know, English buddy, having a girlfriend who speaks English language, a brother, a sister, a mom, a dad, so that you can speak with. They don't have that. Is the input important now? Do you need time to get the language in your system after getting it out, or you can do both? I can get it, and I can take it out.
You cannot produce if you're not consume.
But too much consumption, he says, is detrimental.
I'm not talking about it too much.
Right,
If you have to produce something, you have to consume it first.
very good.
For example, even the background, the music, YouTube videos, and even the music, you subconsciously learn this. For example,
Very important.
some of my students say that, teacher, I swear to God, I know this vocabulary, but I don't know where. Because you
Yes, yes,
subconsciously
yes, yes,
learn it. So it means that you consume something with consciously or unconsciously, then you produce something. So these are all facts to students, directly and indirectly. My point is, input is more important than output.
Oh, okay, that's what I
disagree,
mean.
for example.
That's
What I mean. So input is more important than the output.
And
That
you
means
can-
don't rush to speak. So you know the language, and you have a lot of things that you consume.
Yes. You get on your mind, you merge them to
Right.
structures, the information all together, then you produce something.
Right.
You know
So-
tenses.
So that's why
yes.
a lower level need more consumption.
Definitely,
I
especially
think-
when I 2 level, I don't know.
I agree, I don't disagree with you, but I think at the same time, for example, when you said the example that one of your students, he saw the word and he said that, I
Yes.
knew this word, but I don't know from where I
Yes.
knew it. I think the main goal what is the meaning of output? You know, when you say, I am taking input from videos, podcasts, and so many things, how can I take this output? It's not only practice, sometimes it doesn't work out. For example, the students come to us, they speak, but they don't use the words that they want to use, right? Always say, oh, what is this word? I can't, I'm not remembering, so they go to the basic words or the alternative words. But there are words that they love and they learned. How can we take these words out from them? I think by putting them under severe challenges, or they have to put themselves under severe challenges. For example, when they go and they speak with someone that they don't know for the first time, maybe traveling to another country, maybe
Right.
if they have decent apps, they open up and they speak with the apps as well. I think they have to put themselves under real pressure.
Right.
They come to the class, teacher, I know him, I speak with him, and it's finished. But when they are under real pressure, I think the subconscious mind, then it will work.
Yes.
Because it's a survival mode. For example, right now I'm swimming, let's say I'm drowning, what's going to happen? All my body's going to do the reflex, right? I'm going to be on survival
I
mode.
like that. I remember one of the things that my father did to my brother in order to not be scared from water.
Push him to the water.
Pushed him in the water. It's like, now you are under pressure, it's hard now you're going to perform better.
Under the pressure, our bodies and our minds work really different way, like survival mode, think about it.
Students don't know this. That's why they need to be educated.
Yes, if we took them out, or I don't know how much we can do, but they have to understand this and they have to take themselves out to...
I like the survival mode, yes.
Right, the subconscious mind 100% will work differently. We as well, by the way. For example, the way that we talk right now, not the same as teacher's room.
No.
The way that we talk, not the same as we go in the class.
Yeah.
It's different. Why? Because our subconscious mind is now
Yeah.
working it differently.
Very exciting. I think if we reached at this point, we're talking about the input is important equally as the output, and the output is important, but it is basic. We need to push it more. Can we do a lifestyle changes into students' life so that we can create that survival mode? I have to use the word now. I have to talk like that. How can we turn English from a subject into a lifestyle?
Even in the basic terms, with teacher Alper said in the first sentence is flirting.
Flirting.
Yes.
Put it into the action. Actually use the language.
Getting
It's part of my life.
Download Tinder as a first.
That's very good.
Then go to the settings and put the kilometer international, right? Open up to international.
Yeah.
And then try to match with people from
Yeah.
different parts of the world, especially if
Very
like from Australia, United States, England. That would be better.
If you're single.
Yes, of course. If you're single, that's.
We don't want to damage relationships.
100%. Match with somebody and start talking.
Attention, I said, or attention?
And because now you have the biggest motivation in the world. You are trying to get to know
I wanna
motivation
speak
in the
with
world.
her. I wanna contact with her.
Yeah.
I wanna get to know her. I wanna understand what she's saying.
It is
I do whatever
deep in
necessary.
survival mode as it gets, like drowning.
Yeah.
Right.
I think because like minds work in the same way when we face like life-threatening situation,
Yes.
and when we are open up to the person that we have crush on. Right?
Survival
It
mode.
is exactly the same setting, so that will also help a lot.
But it's a
nowadays you
lifestyle.
don't even have to
That's also-
download Tinder as well.
That's a change. What the heck?
And then you don't even need Tinder, right? You can just go to forums and.
I was just mentioning
websites.
something in Turkey. Turkey is the most diverse country I've ever been heard about. It's a cosmopolitan, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know about the
Very
city
much.
where we are, but Istanbul is quite a lot, and even in the university here in this city,
Yes.
actually a lot of internationals. I go to the gym where it's near the campus, and a lot of people speak
It's a
English
student
language.
area, yeah.
How you cannot find somebody to actually communicate
I
with?
think it's very easy to find someone to speak with, but again, it's about the effort you're showing to the...
100%.
Definitely.
I think, and plus lifestyles, I think is very simple. We love sports. Open up
Yes.
YouTube, watch about sports. You love football. For example, I had that day, it wasn't a student, it was a different person. Anyways, so the lady, she's telling me that she's in love with Formula 1. And she loves Formula 1 so much. The lady, she's studying, I forgot what she's studying, but anyways, her English level is very good. She's B2 level.
Right.
So we were talking together and she was telling me that, you know, I love watching Formula 1 and I cannot watch Formula 1 except in English.
Awesome.
And she's Turkish. And she's telling me that when I hear...
Congratulations!
When she told me when I hear it in Turkish, I don't feel the same excitement that I get in English. That's amazing.
Integration into her lifestyle.
That's how you put it in your lifestyle. You love something.
Yeah.
For example, songs. The same thing. For example, Alper, he loves songs. He opens up. He can find a very easy Turkish song, easy to his tongue, makes it amazing with his voice, with his feelings. But no, he goes to the English songs and he wants to even make a cover for it very soon, by the way. Support the guy.
Now the promise has been made.
On YouTube?
I have to.
On
She
YouTube?
has put all the pressure on me. That's right. Now I can't disappoint.
I have to do it.
Eagerly we're waiting. So I think again, like lifestyles is very easy. You can apply it to everything you want. You want to find someone, a foreign you want to speak with, opposite gender, same gender.
If I want to be native in English,
Yes.
like I am having English language in my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I want to be native in the language. I want to speak without thinking. I want to have a good fluency. I want to blah 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 blah.
Time.
Is that possible?
Time, teacher. Time.
What is the period of time? What do you think?
There's no period of time because everyone is different, teacher.
Yeah.
Everyone has different
For you.
lifestyle.
For you.
For me, I cannot even for myself. Like this is my time. I have to learn this language like a native person. 2 years, 4 years. No, I cannot even calculate for myself. I don't know my tomorrow.
But I think like again, like being native is something beautiful. But for new learners in general, I think that again the goal of the language is that he understands
And that community.
and I understand.
You shouldn't
Yes.
rush. You shouldn't rush.
Yes, you shouldn't
Okay.
rush
You shouldn't
because
I have
right now people that are looking at us and they say, okay, I'm not gonna be a native. I can't be a native. I don't know what you're talking about
Yeah.
even. They're
Isn't
looking
that
for
kind of a
titles.
limitation?
Yeah.
I'm limiting myself. If I want to learn like a native,
Why limiting yourself?
well, if I am saying that I cannot be a native,
Yeah.
No, no,
technically you're saying
Right, because you know they didn't start yet, or they are starting, but their level is a little bit.
Because they didn't acquire it but learned it.
Yeah, let's say A2 level, for example. They're not thinking about being a native right now. They're just thinking about how can I.
Yeah.
Isn't that limitation?
Not
Think
really.
about that.
I
It's
disagree.
your homework.
No, no. For example, let's say I want to learn Turkish, right? And my level is A1. I have no idea what's Turkish about. If you're telling me you can become native, I'm like, I don't know what merhaba means. How
I
can
mean
I know?
learn as a native.
Learn as a
If
native.
you were,
yeah.
if you were to start living, or you were born in the USA, Australia, New Zealand, whatever, and you woke up to a life where everything around you is in English language. The shows, the music, the mom,
yes.
the dad,
To
the house,
learn.
the environment,
Yes.
everything else. I think it's possible to attain it.
100%.
Not like a native, I would say, maybe
Most
a native like,
Yes.
Really, yeah.
but learn as a native. So
Actually,
to learn as a student.
there's an approach named, there's a guy, I'm not quite sure, but I guess there's a scientist named Stephen Krashen says that when you have a child, if your child is around 7 years old, 5 years old, if he or she hears anything around the native languages, English, Dutch, whatever it is, the pronunciation would be much more, much better than all adults, all the teenagers. If your child is 5 or 7 years old. So yes, the distinguishing part is pronunciation can show you
Yes, of course.
how you native, how you perfect
Yep, yep.
it. And it reaches the highest point if you are 5 or 7 years old. They
Yes.
say.
What happens after 5 and 7?
You have
As
to
you get
build
older.
yourself up. But the pronunciation part, I must say that.
So you
Yes.
hit your prime at 5 and 7, between 5 and 7.
Learn the pronunciation, I think he meant.
The pronunciation
So
part
it's essential to
reach
have
the highest
pronunciation
point.
very good in the early ages of your life.
Yes,
And then you can sharpen it.
yeah, build
Right,
up
how
the
about-
speech
It's
by
like the
example.
critical period after that it gets
Definitely.
almost impossible, but still possible and doable, right?
Oh,
But
right.
you might not perfect.
Let's go to live experience. Like for example, Alper, how did you, when did you learn the pronunciation of English? For example, because a lot of letters, for example, are not the same in Turkish or any
Yeah.
other languages. So how did you learn the correct pronunciation of the and we and the other things like?
Well, to be honest, I didn't get into
Pronunciation.
studying or working on my pronunciation almost like halfway through my English learning journey because in the beginning my only concern was learning like phrases and
Yeah.
I didn't care about how I would articulate those phrases.
Yeah.
As long as I was making my point, right, to the other person, that was the main goal. But as I started picking up different things and picking up different accents and phrases, expressions from different TV personality, because like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, that's how I actually built the foundation of my English, right? English skills and like speakings and stuff. And as I moved on, I got, for example, how you doing from friends.
How you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Still, I am not 100% doing it right because
Yeah.
I don't have the same swag that guy.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Like he was an idol for me.
Joey,
Like
unbelievable.
I also my flirting skills in English also is a little bit based on that character as well
Yeah.
because he was one of the most flirtiest TV characters ever. Right?
Yeah,
And he was
yeah,
very
yeah.
successful with it as well. He was sweet, man.
I remember.
It was
I remember first episode when Rachel came with wedding dress. I
Yes.
hope I can put the photo somewhere.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
flirted with her on her
Wedding.
Wedding. Like,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
just
yeah.
left the wedding. It's like, is there a rule about that? I'm like, wow.
And then a few expressions from this guy, a few from this, a little bit of English accent, a little bit of American accent.
Also, we talked about this
Australian,
selection.
Like,
Did you practice like when you?
no, not at all.
Did you sit at home like, for
It
example,
was subconscious
the
for
man
years.
or?
But when I realized that now I quite like progressed in my journey and realized that now I am speaking fluently,
Yeah.
and then I had the time to actually stop focusing too much on improving my oral skills or reading skills and listening and stuff. But now finally it was time to speak, like work on pronunciation and intonation as well, because that also adds a lot of like layer to your speaking abilities.
Yeah.
But I don't think that should be somebody's first like
Concern and
instinct,
priority,
concern
yeah,
to go
I
with,
think
right?
so.
Is it like my brother? It's very strange. I don't know if that would make sense for you, but in my head it does. My brother, when he got married, he built a second floor for our house, imitation of the first floor. And he said building it and putting it all together was a piece of cake, very easy. The small things to make it perfect and really
Final
good
touches.
are the hardest.
Yeah.
You were discussing something like that. You said, I knew that I am fluent, I'm speaking, now you're focusing on pronunciation and intonation.
Yes, because
It's very exciting because those are feels like the little thing,
The basic
little
layers
addition.
should be
Yeah, the little
definitely.
so the basic layers he had,
100%.
little teeny tiny
Yeah.
things were.
because we talked about, for example, forming a different personality for a different and new language, another
Right.
language.
And
Now you have. So I'm just gonna wrap it up.
please.
Now you have formed that personality, the basis of that personality, but what is like waiting for you to do is the next step is anybody can speak English, right? But to make other people realize that whenever they hear you speaking, they should go like, alright, this is Alper speaking right now.
Were you aware, like when you were learning this thing, were you aware that I am gathering from here and here and here, or you do it unconsciously and then
For a
after?
very long period of time it was unconscious.
Yes.
But at some certain point it just clicks and you realize that, and you realize
I'm
the
doing
power
fine.
of having your own way of saying things.
Yeah.
Having your own way of speaking.
Yeah.
Your like also your pace, right?
Yeah.
Speaking too fast, speaking too
course,
slow,
course.
speaking just at the right speed, pace.
Lowering your
also-
tone and lowering
yes.
your tone.
That's
is-
being native, I think.
Yeah, I mean.
It also adds a little bit of theatricality to the way you speak, the way you communicate as well, which I really like.
I mean,
Because
whenever
I
you
also
act,
learned
it's
that
part of
from
you.
theatre plays.
No,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
like it's like
Definitely.
you know you are putting a hand or a glove and you're using this glove as it's your natural
Yeah.
part of your body. The same thing.
Mhm.
You are putting a language and you are using it as your mother
These
language.
are just means, right?
Literally, yeah. It just means and you're doing it with your.
And for the
Also-
basic layers, for example, English, when we look into the definition of the English, the parts, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. But these are the basic layers. So I may suggest for the students or the English learners, I don't know, don't just try to get the sub branches of the English, like intonation, like pronunciation. These are the sub branches.
Right.
The four skills are important. Do the four skills first. Then, as teacher Alper suggests, pronunciation, the intonation, the pitch, and stuff.
These are the sub branches.
Sub branches.
Yeah.
Don't
Make it
just
your
go
own.
with this pronunciation. I will record myself. I will listen myself. For example, think, no, think. I did it wrong. I corrected myself. No, just
So
do
build the walls,
forward.
put the poles,
Definitely.
put the ceiling.
Basic
and then-
layers, improving.
So for a long time it is fluency over accuracy,
Yeah, like,
but after the
imagine that
point,
is a premise.
just go with a like holistic approach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Try to take everything into account after you
Yeah.
have hit intermediate level, which should start around like when you reach B1, right, halfway through B1.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
should start
Yeah.
focusing and paying attention to more details
Pronunciation
as
and
well.
stuff like that.
100%.
100%.
There is a concept of the student that they have is that, okay, I'm going to pay a lot of money, I'm going to start an English language course,
Yeah.
I'm going to learn, I'm going to be fluent, things will get great for me. But classroom is just the beginning, isn't it?
It's like making a fire. So you started learning making the fire and you achieved it. So first thing you do, you cook your meal. Then you use for lightning. Then you use for anything else. So learning is something like that. You just started to learn in classroom. This is the beginning.
Right.
Then you use it with your environment, with your family, with your mother, with your brother. Then you bring this up to your career, your future, your job.
Otherwise it will die out.
Definitely. You just start with the beginning of the classroom, then you have to carry this. You have to move on. You cannot stay with the classroom. You just stay with them 5 months, 6 months, I don't know how the person needs it. Then you have to move, then you have to go of another layers of your lifestyle.
Cooking, something else.
Thank you.
Came to my mind.
Yeah,
I
but
just
fish.
remembered it. Not fish, actually, something near from it. You're the cooker and you're cooking, whether you're cooking for yourself or for other people. But even the people will always come to you and they will give the dishes, right? So you have to keep cooking. You have to always cook.
You have to keep the fire alive.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, that's a continuation. It seems like if you keep the fire alive,
Yeah,
you're gonna keep cooking.
absolutely. Otherwise, the fire is going to waste. Right?
But that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nobody talked about feeding the fire while cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fire will die out without actually feeding it.
How can you feed the fire? I'm serious.
Practice! Practice!
Yeah, take
That
it.
is so funny. That is so true.
Yes, exactly.
Practice makes perfect, we say all the
Perfect
time.
Practice makes perfect.
Perfect practice makes perfect, by the way.
Perfect practice makes perfect.
You, even though you like lay the foundation, that's only the beginning, and you have to keep on working on the other parts of it, and finally create a great space where you can move on and live happily
Definitely.
ever after. But you know, to do that, like many students mistakenly think that just attending classes, taking classes, coming here and going home
Is enough, huh?
is enough for them to
No.
like learn English and make it to advanced level, which is as obviously as all of you also know from your experiences with students who has always thought like this and failed in the end
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they didn't think like the way you did. Jeff.
Everything starts with the teacher.
Yes.
Yes.
It's kind of impossible to blame the learner. I would blame the learner's understanding mindset and not allowing the process to get into them and shifting their mindset or changing their behavior towards learning the language. But I was always going to say is that the teacher need to show the students how to maintain, going with the metaphor, how to maintain the fire, how to
Yeah.
keep it alive, the usage. Don't only know the words, learn it and everything, you have to find a way to use whatever you're learning. Otherwise, it is vanished into
That's
thin air.
why we teach them how to learn.
Exactly.
I think
That makes them, after the classroom, proceed their journey without us.
Yes.
everything.
Self-teaching.
Yes, everything
Self-teaching.
starts with the teacher and everything ends with the teacher. The teacher can fire up this passion inside the students and he can turn it off also with that students. So he is the key point, he is the trigger, he's the lighter to fire this.
How important
Passion.
we are.
Yes, I think
How
very,
important
very,
we are.
very much,
Yeah.
really. Because remember, when you say that I hate math, or I hate English, or I hate geography, actually you don't hate the subject,
Yeah.
you hated the teacher.
You hate the way
Teachers,
it
the
was.
approach,
example-
attending that class, knowing
Yes.
that person is going to be
I
in front
swear
of your
I
face.
had a horrible math teacher. I'm not gossiping him, but I don't know if he's gonna watch it or not.
Oh, I
Anyways,
hope they are watching.
the
Because
guy,
I don't care. Look, a
Literally.
teacher, when you decide to go into teaching, whatever that is,
yeah.
you should put your heart into it. It's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just a job.
And
Yeah,
you
but
should
I'm
be
sorry,
open to
man.
this
And
kind
I
of
swear
criticism.
to God, I swear, like I think every one of us also experienced this. The moment I step in, the moment I put my feet into this classroom, I forget money. I don't think about
Yes.
money. I don't think about. I think
100%.
it's just me, the students, and the information that I want to give to them.
Good management does this too.
100%. Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm
please.
serious because
Yeah.
you go on like if you think about money, you can never do anything. Really,
Right.
like what job you go and work in like
Honestly-
a labor job, I believe. If you think
Honestly,
about money,
money is
yeah.
important,
It's important.
but no matter what, students must not see that side from you
We-
because they when students come to you, they don't think that this guy has a family problems or he has worries.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course, you have and they know, but they are looking forward to hear from you information, details, learning and having fun, enjoying their time and going to be out.
Because you are the lighter.
Right.
Actually, hunger is the key factor. When the mutual hunger happens in both ways, it creates inevitable success.
I think one of the hardest things that to experience is that you are willing to give to the students, but he's not willing to take.
I must say this is the hardest part because actually from my perspective, I tend to try to feel, I probably know his or her interested
Yes.
point of view.
Like as you mentioned, games or
Yeah, music,
sports,
games,
music.
religion, whatever it is.
Beautiful.
I try to hit them with this.
So you have to touch the heart first, then you can give whatever you want and you can take whatever you
Trust
want.
it.
Beautiful, very nice.
Let's wrap it up with,
Yeah.
provide something valuable to our students, the students that now watching us, the ones that now we are taking them in our classrooms. What would you want to say to them for their sake in terms of their approach of how to learn in the English language and everything else? If we can wrap up with this, it would be very nice, because most of our students are upper level, a B2, a C1, so they will probably tune in and watch the video. So let's wrap it up with something, a sentence or two perhaps, to sum up, wrap up. What do you want to tell them? Which we're making it as a selfie as to make it too personal and too close to you, so that you would be...
Our camera's battery just died. That's the real reason. We are fooling you guys.
All right. We're gonna end up with messages from your teachers, and here is first teacher, teacher Furkan. Please go ahead.
Yes. My first advice would be definitely, please don't rush. You may feel something like that. My friends all try to speak English in a good way. I feel behind them. No, everyone are different. So every lifestyle is different. Don't feel that you are on their behind. Don't rush. It will take time. No problem. We also practice this English language for years. It didn't happen in once. It didn't happen in just 1 minute or 2 minutes or 1 month or 3 months. And don't believe the people that say to you, you can learn, you can speak English in 2 months. Impossible. Believe in yourself, and please make sure that it will take time. And now, teacher Alper will suggest you something.
Thank you so much. By the way, he pronounced my name in French. Teacher Alper, he said. But wise words, yeah, I like it. Now, I think Teacher Furkan made some certain solid points as well, but what I would in general advise to just all learners of English is that try to be independent in your own learning journey. Try to experience with different metacognitive skills. That means different individual and specific learning methods, right? Whether you are someone who learns better when writing things or reading things or listening or just speaking and practicing over just communication, it doesn't matter. But especially if you are in the beginning of your journey, you are very much a stranger to have to experience these kind of different strategies. And it's always a good time, the best time is always right now. So please get into trying out new things. Never be afraid of trying out those different methodologies and strategies. And also remember, at one point you will leave your school. You will leave your language classroom, your institution, or your university. And after that point, you'll be all by yourself. You will still have your online resources. You will still have access to ChatGPT, your mobile phone, and all that stuff. But unless you learn at this point how to utilize all those resources, you're not going to be able to achieve great outcomes from them. And don't be too dependent on your classroom teachers as well. Don't be too dependent on me. This is something that I've been saying to my students for a very long time. But think of us like guides, and one day achieve to be completely free of our influence as well, and try to establish your own learning methodologies. And this is all I have to say, all I got to say, and I'm passing it to Teacher Amir.
Thank you very much, teacher. Appreciate it. I think the advice that I would like to share with my students, or the students who's learning English right now, I believe is that everyone's journey is different. Don't rush things up, as Furkan said. And sometimes you'll feel like you're doing very good in the language. Sometimes you'll feel like you're not doing any good in the language. So just be patient with yourself. Be patient with the journey. And again, as I said at the beginning, if your why is strong, ask yourself always, why am I doing this? If you truly know why you're doing something, the how will be easy. It will take 2 months, 3 months, and you will be able to finish it. And I think one of the most important thing is that the mindset. You have to think that you will ask yourself, why should I learn English? I'm not gonna go to a different country. Your people around you, they're gonna mock you maybe, for example. They will tell you, you're not leaving anywhere, you're staying here, you are not going to speak this language, so why you're learning it anyways? I think is why not when people ask you why you are learning, you ask yourself, why not? Why not being the best version of yourself? Why not having a new language? Why not being someone who his father or his mother will be proud of? You have to change yourself. If you didn't change yourself now, when? If you're not going to learn new language or new skill or improve yourself, when is the time? We have a Chinese saying that the best time for planting a tree was 2,000 years ago. The second best time is now. So if you don't change something up, when you will do it? So I think make a change, learn a new language, learn a new skill, start it up. We all support you. You have us and you have everyone else. Whether you're a student from the course, if you're not, you can always reach us through the social media. Take care of yourselves. Have a lovely night. And I'm handling to Big Boss.
Yeah. That was very nice tips. I appreciate to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. My biggest tip for you is to follow me on Instagram. Why? First, because my lifestyle is English language. I use English language every single day. I think you're going to learn much about the advice that I give through Instagram, through Instagram channel, through the videos that I'm making and the learning through Instagram. I think that's going to be my best advice. Follow me on Instagram. Thank you very much, and follow the guys as well. They're sitting very nicely down here. Yeah. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time on another episode and perhaps a different topic. Of course, different topic. Why did I say perhaps? Anyway, bye-bye.